Like we talked about in previous lessons, there are always competing priorities, which means it's very likely that you will never have enough budget to fund everything on your wish list. Security leaders face this all the time. There are always more vulnerabilities than patches, more tools than budget, more initiatives than resources. So the question is, of course, not whether or not you're going to face constraints. That's part of business. It's how intelligently you'll work within those constraints. We want to review in this lesson some frameworks for making smart security investment decisions when resources are limited, which means always. Now, strategy guru Michael Porter put it perfectly by saying the essence of strategy is deciding what not to do. This is counterintuitive for security professionals. Our instinct is to protect against every threat, close every gap, and implement every control. But trying to do everything with limited resources means doing nothing well. And yet, the organizations that achieve the strongest security posture are not necessarily those with the biggest budgets. They are, however, those who allocate their resources most intelligently. They understand that strategic prioritization isn't about finding ways to fund everything. It's about making deliberate choices to fund the right things. So we have to think, given our constraints, what creates the most value? Think about a prioritization framework that balances 4 critical factors. Factor 1, risk severity. How significant is the risk that this investment addresses? So by this, we're looking at a potential business impact, financial loss, operational disruption, regulatory penalties, and reputational damage. Not all risks are equal, and your investment should reflect that reality. The second factor is likelihood of exploitation. So not just how big is the risk, but how likely is it that it will happen to us? A severe vulnerability that's difficult to exploit may be lower priority than a moderate vulnerability attackers are actively targeting. Consider threat intelligence, industry trends, and your organization's specific exposure. What are attackers actually doing right now? And factor 3, business impact of the solution. Beyond reducing risk, does this investment enable business objectives? Can it accelerate compliance, support expansion into new markets, or unlock revenue opportunities? Investments that serve dual purposes often rise in priority, and if we're unlocking revenue opportunities, we're also potentially creating the enabler for additional investments in the future. And factor 4, implementation cost and complexity. What resources does this investment require? Not just dollars, but time, expertise, and organizational attention. A high-impact investment that requires 18 months and a complete infrastructure overhaul may be less attractive than a moderate impact investment you can deploy next quarter. When you score investments across all 4 factors, a clearer picture is going to emerge for you. Some investments that seemed essential reveal themselves as marginal. Others that seemed secondary prove strategically vital. And then once you've evaluated your options, sort them into 3 categories. Category 1 will be for the quick wins. These are investments that deliver immediate value with a relatively low cost and complexity. They might not address your biggest risks, but they provide rapid risk reduction and they build momentum. Quick wins are especially valuable when you need to demonstrate progress to leadership or when organizational change capacity is limited. Examples include enabling MFA on critical systems, multi-factor authentication, implementing basic email security controls, or deploying endpoint detection on high-risk users. Category 2, foundational investments. These are the building blocks that enable future capabilities. They may not provide immediate dramatic risk reduction, but without them, more advanced security programs can't function. Think of identity infrastructure, security monitoring platforms, or data classification systems. These investments require patience. The payoff comes over time as you build on the foundation. And category 3 is strategic initiatives. These are the large, expensive investments that address significant risks, but require substantial resources and organizational commitment. A zero-trust architecture overhaul, a comprehensive third-party risk management program, a full security operations center build-out. These initiatives may need to wait for the right timing, larger budgets, or organizational readiness. That doesn't make them unimportant. It means you're being strategic about when to pursue them. So, as you may have gathered, the order matters as much as the selection. Start with quick wins. Quick wins build credibility, demonstrate value, and create organizational momentum for larger initiatives. Leadership sees results, and you've earned the trust to pursue bigger investments. Invest in foundations before building on top of them. Don't deploy advanced threat detection if you haven't established basic asset inventory. Don't implement complex access controls if your identity infrastructure is fragmented. Each foundational investment should unlock the next level of capability. Sequence strategic initiatives based on dependencies and timing. Some large initiatives have natural sequencing. One must complete before another can begin. Others depend on external factors like budget cycles, compliance deadlines, or organizational changes. Map these dependencies and align your roadmap accordingly. And resist the temptation to spread resources too thin. Funding 5 initiatives at 20% each produces less value than funding 2 initiatives at 100%, or even just one. Concentrated investment achieves results. Diluted investment produces partial implementations that deliver partial value or sometimes none at all. And your prioritization decisions are going to disappoint someone. A stakeholder's preferred initiative won't make the cut. A business unit will feel their risks aren't being addressed. But transparency is still your best tool. When you communicate prioritization decisions, explain the framework you used. Show stakeholders how initiatives scored across risk severity, likelihood, business impact, and cost. Make the trade-offs visible. Frame deferrals as timing decisions, not rejections. We are prioritizing this initiative for Q3 next year when foundational capabilities are in place is different from we're not doing that or we're not doing that right now. And document your rationale. When leadership asks you why you chose investment A over investment B, you need a defensible answer grounded in structured analyses, not gut feeling or squeaky wheel politics. Finally, revisit priorities regularly. Business conditions change, threats evolve, and organizational capacity shifts. A quarterly or semi-annual review ensures your prioritization reflects current reality, not outdated assumptions. Limited budgets force hard choices, but hard choices made well through structured frameworks, clear criteria, and transparent communication build stronger security programs than unlimited budgets spent without discipline. For this lesson, the downloadable resource, Security Investment Prioritization Framework, provides scoring templates, investment category worksheets, and communication guides for stakeholder conversations. In the next lesson, we'll review those decisions you have to make between building, buying, or partnering.